Now back to the galactic core. The horizontal streak of bright lights, bright stars across the center of the image is the plane of the Milky Way. As I said earlier, some call it the photon belt, some call it the milk of the Milky Way, some call it the ether. The galaxy center is the bright white spot in the middle of the photo, where hot, massive stars are crowding together. It's believed to be a supermassive black hole. And my theory is that the closer to the black hole, the more rapid or shift there is in a frequency. Because the gravity of the black hole is so intense, and I'll show you in a minute how fast stars can rotate around this sun. Frequency is so intense that it's literally shifting your vibration and frequency. So it might be impossible for third dimensional existence for third dimensional life to even live over there because of the fact that the frequency is so much, the suns are so packed together, the heat level is probably extremely high. And then the question is the black hole in the center of our galaxy dormant, or is it we're actually sucking things in as we speak? This leads to the element of white holes. And, I came across this information once, like briefly, about a white hole, and it just stuck in my head forever. And ever since then, I've been like routinely researching it and just trying to figure out, what could this white hole be? Because even scientists, they haven't perceived a white hole. A white hole is actually a hypothetical region of space-time and singularity which cannot be entered from the outside, although energy, matter, light, and information can escape from it. So, what is a white hole? The 100% opposite of a black hole. In this universe, it's believed that if we have a black hole, there needs to be a white hole, right? So, not sure if we have observed it yet, but in theory, it should exist. Possible white holes, though, so we could have observed it, but not known that there were white holes. So, possible white holes are the other side of a black hole. Makes sense. Well, light goes through the black hole, comes out of the other side into another universe, another dimension, another parallel reality out of a white hole. Or is there a universe where there are only white holes, right? Like we have only black holes. Maybe there's a universe with only white holes and no black holes, and that's where all the energy goes. Maybe the sun is a white hole pulling energy out of a black hole. That's another understanding that we used to think. You're going to hear me quite a few times today saying used to think, because a lot of what we were taught, and I'm 38, a lot of what I was taught from like 90 to 2000 in regards to astronomy have been completely thrown out of what they have believe is true, and they haven't spent the time to reinform us. So by doing this research, you get reinformed of what we're now realizing the universe is. So could it be, instead of nuclear fusion, going back to what they said about suns, is there are two theories about a sun. How on earth, or how in the cosmos really, is a sun creating all this infinite energy that lasts for so long, billions of years before it even dies out? Where is it getting its energy from? Oh, yes, it must be some sort of internal nuclear fusion, a theory, once again. So the other theory is that suns and stars could actually be white holes, meaning that the black hole is actually a sun somewhere else, and that our suns are actually the reverse side of a black hole, either in another dimension or within our own physical universe. And then another one is that a black hole could be the reversal phase of a supermassive black hole, because we have now seen that black holes become the opposite of the black hole and start spewing energy out within the center of galaxies at certain intervals within their existence. So could the supermassive black hole become a white hole spewing ether miles into space that eventually settles and coalesces at the ends of our galaxy, creating more material to begin creating more of the physical universe? And what I'm saying in that one is, could the supermassive black hole spew out matter that then comes down through the gravity of the Milky Way galaxy, coalesces and comes back all over the galaxy, and now becomes the building blocks to create more and more physical planets, stars, nebulae, whatever? The supermassive black hole that is at the center of our galaxy did let out a flare of radiation around 3.5 million years ago. So the answer to my last thing is Yeah, it looks like that could be the case, that a supermassive black hole could actually become a white hole. And part of that theory comes from this, that 3.5 million years ago, the black hole spewed out a bunch of matter and ether and particles from the center of it. Something that only things should be able to enter did the opposite. And it's thought to have been clearly visible from Earth. That's how intense it was. This discovery, it changes our view of our galaxy's central black hole entirely, which has appeared dormant through recorded human history. Stephen Hawking had actually proposed that while black holes get bigger by eating material, they can also slowly shrink because they're rarely losing radiation. Hawking radiation occurs because empty space or the vacuum is not really empty. That's a whole other rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down, because I believe a lot of conventional scientists have a lot of truth, but they've also put a lot of agenda oriented information in there. And specifically when it comes to Hawking, I have that belief. So could it be a white hole? When the polarity reverses and spews out matter, it's estimated to be about 10 million to 1 billion, which is a huge difference, black holes in our galaxy alone, in our galaxy. These could be rips in space-time. Where is the light that is going through this rip in space-time going? If it's not going to another dimension, but it's going to a dimension within dimensions, because technically it's a rip in space-time, and is it just going into an astral realm where there's just pure energy now from this? Or is a black hole in a way dematerializing, and what we thought was energy will always exist? Maybe that's not the case. Maybe energy can be dismantled when it comes to the light being sucked into from black holes. So the Keck team here, I'm going to show you the next slide, but the Keck team here, it was led by UCLA astronomer Andrea Ghez, has now identified a star that orbits the black hole in 11.5 years, the shortest orbital period of a star yet discovered. Just to show you how fast everything is moving around the center of our galaxy, the shortest orbit that we found is 11.5 years of a star rotating around that huge black hole. And to double down on the whole component of could a sun be a white hole? Well, if a black hole could also, or a wormhole could be used for travel for a spacecraft using certain force fields or energies to go through, could the sun, if it's a white hole, be a stargate that these craft can come out of? Some people believe that is the case. I think that's definitely a possibility as well. And images like this that were released on NASA's website, and this image right here that I'm showing you, I actually saw years ago on NASA's website when it came out, because this image got released and then it was on NASA's website. So I can verify and say to you, yes, this isn't a doctored image. This is exactly how it looked on NASA's website before they took it down. Some people believe that NASA, they just have no filter for their videos and images, and it goes up on their website, and then they take a look at them yet later and bring them down. I don't think that's the case. I think they deliberately let things out there and then they take them down afterwards. That seems to be more evidence to suggest that. But if you can look at this image here, what does this look like? Well, you could say that there's a lot of things, and they have said that there's a lot of radiation coming from the sun, and this is something that's natural, even though they've never actually depicted or picked this up ever before, right? And it looks like that there's some sort of spherical craft ciphering and pulling energy from the sun. But this wasn't the only image. They found tens of these things on the same time. They all came on the website. This is the only one that I can find that's left on the internet that is everywhere now. And when they did, spectral analysis of this thing in order to see what it was made out of, it was a solid object. It didn't seem like it was gas or radiation or anything like that. We can actually figure those things out. And look at the size of Earth right here. I forget how many times bigger it is, because I know they did say it when this came out. They said how much bigger it is, but you can tell the difference. Let's say 15 to 20 Earths can fit in this thing. So what is it? Why is it so big, right? And if you know any information about the other disclosure or the other piece of information that NASA released around 5-6 years ago, when they were looking at a constellation somewhere else in our galaxy, and that the star in that galaxy kept flickering on and off, on and off, on and off. So they started looking at that planet, and this is all mainstream out there too. started looking at that sun, and they were like, wow, why is this thing going so fast around the sun? Why is the orbit so fast? And they started taking a look at it, and they're like, okay, well, it's flickering on and off. Normally that means that there's something orbiting it, but it's orbiting in a place we didn't know anything to be. And then they took a look and they did an analysis on it, and it was some metallic structure, a metal-like structure that was there in the cosmos. And that they said that it should be maybe some sort of, even conventional scientists said that it looks like it's some sort of alien craft. That was the whole headline about it all. And then of course it gets swept under the rug. But if you look at any information with that, it's one of the largest anomalies ever. And what conventional scientists said after they realized it was a metallic structure, that maybe it's some alien civilization taking power from the sun in order to fuel the civilization, right? So these are some of the anomalies that are being found, but aren't just being found in places where it could be photoshopped, are being found in places where these individuals seem to not maybe want this information to even get out there in the first place. Okay, so what is ether? We've heard this, and I spoke about ether a few times today. Ether is the fifth element, just like the movie. If you've seen the movie at all, the girl in there that was the ET that became the girl incarnated was the fifth element, ether, personified and manifest into a human being. The element that all other elements come from. On the physical world, we know four elements, right? Earth, wind, fire, and water. So where's ether? Ether exists. We have milk in the Milky Way galaxy. Why aren't we talking about that? Well, ether is the building blocks for all the other elements. Without ether, nothing would exist. Ether is the particles, the dust, the radiation, the energy coming from the center of our galaxy and throughout all of cosmos. Some people even say that the dark matter that they believe that they haven't proved exists is also a theory. The dark matter that holds everything together is the ether as well. So could the ether be the unlimited potential that can actually create all these physical objects? It creates stars, it creates nebulae, it creates minerals, it creates everything. Ancient and medieval scientists, they actually believe that ether is the material that fills the region of the universe above the terrestrial sphere. And in physics, they say the ether is the substance or field thought to be necessary as a transmission medium for the propagation of electromagnetic or gravitational forces. So again, in ancient and medieval scientists, they thought that ether filled the region above the terrestrial sphere. Great explanation. Energy, frequency, vibration, matter, particles, radiation, whatever it is combined together, unlimited potential that manifests and goes down into the terrestrial sphere to create everything. And then in physics, they're saying that it's probably a substance, it's probably a field, it's probably necessary to transmit the electromagnetic and gravitational forces that create the universe. So they're saying the same thing, just in mathematical terms. To me, my definition of it is ether is the 3D printing material for the physical universe that comes from the voice and place of no dimension. The void comes from the void, the place of no dimension. So it's basically just like a 3D printing machine. You get a 3D printing machine, you put in whatever material you need to put in that machine in order for it to create the cell phone case that you're going to 3D print, and then it starts creating it out of all of this like matter. So ether is the same thing, and then the universe, the physical universe, is the 3D printer that utilizes the ether as material to create all things that are physical within this universe. So could the ether that is sent to the ends of the galaxy after a supermassive black hole lets out all this energy and maybe becomes a white hole, and is it possible that the outskirts of the galaxy homes lower dimensional experiences due to the ability for 3D life to exist, and higher dimensional civilizations, beings, and realms are closer to the center? So let me explain that. If the matter goes to the ends of the galaxies and forms physical worlds, if when we get closer to the center of the galaxy, the frequency shifts, the speed increases, is it possible that that could be a connection of the way we incarnate in relation to having these physical linear experiences the further we are in the galaxy, to having these other dimensional experiences the closer we get to the center? Because technically we can't really live and survive in 3D reality if we were just to go, for example, on a planet in Sagittarius A. So Could the ether be the building blocks to create 3D reality, and then it gets pulled closer to the center of our galaxy, and then the center of the galaxy becomes a white hole, sends matter out to the ends of the galaxy again, and then we start this cycle all over again? That's a possibility, I believe.